Hello, Irene.
Hello, Henry. Fancy meeting you here.
Yeah, really. You're watching BrainStormAcres. I'm Henry.
And I'm Irene.
And today we're going to talk about chickens.
Am I supposed to say something?
Nope.
Okay.
You know, we don't raise chickens like Justin Rhodes, or anybody else for that matter. In fact, we don't raise any livestock. Now, it's not that we don't like livestock. We've had birds before.
They're delicious. We've had ducks, and you've had ducks and chickens.
And I've had a goose once.
And I've butchered lots of critters.
And so have I. And we're not afraid of harvesting animals. Sometimes it's not the most pleasant thing, but it's the reason why they exist. But we don't raise chickens or any other livestock like other people for some really simple reasons. First of all, we have tremendous predatory pressure here on our homestead.
Yeah. Coyotes, wolves, foxes, bobcats, mountain lions,
Rattlesnakes,
wild dog packs, domestic dog packs, javelinas.
They're pretty nasty things.
About the only thing that's in this part of the state that we don't have is bears.
And they don't come down out of the mountains down to where we are. It's a long walk across open ground. So they stay up in the woods. I guess most of the time anyway.
Right. And we don't have pasture.
Now, you know, if you take a look at the way Joel Salatin raises pasture chickens or pastured poultry, he has lush fields. He lives in Virginia. He lives in the Shenandoah region of Virginia, and it's a gorgeous place. We used to live in that area, as a matter of fact.
Right.
And we had ducks.
Right, and everybody, and the people down the street had chickens, so we just used to get our eggs from them.
And because why do that work when we could trade with our neighbors?
Right.
So, we don't have that kind of pasture. In fact, we have a real lack of vegetation. Now, we have some nice looking trees, but they're small. They're mostly junipers and some piñons and desert holly. And if you look, we will show a bit of a drone shot of what the terrain looks like where we live. Now, we've done some work trying to keep the water from just sheeting off our property. It's a lot of work. And when you have 2 inches of rain an hour or 4 inches of rain an hour, which we've had, it washes pretty much everything off.
Right. We wound up with an entire new collection of wildflowers in the last 2 years because they sheeted down off the land next door to us that doesn't belong to us.
And beyond that, the land beyond them. We have tremendous amounts of water flow across our property when we have high amounts of rainfall.
Right, but this year in particular, the rainfall has just not happened the way it's supposed to. In Arizona, the monsoons start sometime in July and run through September. They actually set some dates a couple of years ago just to make it easier for people. But we're supposed to get multiple inches. We're supposed to get most of our yearly rainfall during that time frame. And it just didn't happen. We got something like 0.4 inches of rain for all of 0.04, sorry, inches of rain for all of August. That's not even a quarter of an inch by a long shot, not even a quarter of an inch.
It's not even a tenth of an inch.
And in July, we got maybe a half an inch or something like that. And that all came down in one fell swoosh and then was gone.
So for those of you who have been watching us for a little while, you may have seen some of our videos about the pest pressure here on our homestead. We had thrips that started the year, and we've had rats and mice and squirrels, aphids, every manner of insect that you can imagine, and all the various rodents. Now, that's just in our garden. And as Irene mentioned, we do have bobcat. We've seen mountain lions in the area. We have dogs. We have javelina. Now, most people don't think javelina is a very dangerous animal, but they really are.
They can kill a dog, no issue at all.
They have some really sharp tusks, and they've got a nasty disposition. So one of the problems that we have is, in order to have any kind of fowl, so whether it's a duck, a goose, a chicken, a quail, so we have to take extreme precautions to protect them from predation.
Right. And then there's just the practical aspects of who's going to take care of them when we're not here.
So that's going to take us into the next topic, which is what our schedule looks like. We have an off-grid business that's predominantly based on Irene's artistic skills. And we've been doing this, or actually Irene's been doing this for more than 15 years. And her business has grown and is a nice self-sustaining business. But that also means that we have to travel. So I'm going to move the camera around and we'll show you exactly what's been going on. So apart from the issue of having predation and lack of people to take care of our livestock when we were gone, we have one more complicating factor. This is probably the biggest one in reality, because if we didn't have this issue, we'd be able to solve the others, I think. So if we look, this is a calendar for Irene's business from 2017, and these red marked out areas are when we actually have to be at an event someplace away from home. Now, the only one that's really close is the one in February. The issue with it is we have to plan on 2 days of travel, really one, but we have to plan on 2. We need at least 4 days to pack up the truck. Then coming back, we can get back in 1 day. But once we're back, we have to do laundry and clean things up, and that's going to take a week. We've tried to do it in less than a week, but it takes a week regardless. We have no real time when we could actually raise chickens, except in the month of December and the month of January. That's the only period when we have 8 weeks, and it's barely 8 weeks when we could raise Cornish cross chickens.
If we could get them in November.
If we could get them in November, let's suppose we get them in November 21st. That's kind of close. There's 1 week. There's 2 weeks. 8. Now, what that means is that we have 2 weeks to harvest, clean, and freeze those birds. That sounds reasonable, sounds doable. But remember, this is the coldest part of the year here in northern Arizona. So this is a potential when we could grow chickens. But that's the only thing that we can grow for livestock when we don't have another problem. Because if you look at it, we have this month when we're gone, and that 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 we have a huge amount of the year when we're not here, which means we have to have somebody who's extraordinarily reliable, unbelievably reliable, and they have to know how to deal with breakdowns on the homestead. In 2019, we decided to cut our travel schedule down quite a lot. When you look at 2019, things are not as bad. We have more time when we could do a run of chickens. However, when we look at it, our opinion was it's not worth the effort. These open periods that we have, really we have March, April,
I'm usually working like crazy during those time frames because my February event is usually a good one. And I also wholesale to more than one company, and their events for the spring start about that time. So that's when I'm producing things for a lot of my people that I wholesale to. So I'm working pretty solid. I'm doing some weeks 7 days a week.
And that goes on for all of March and all of April. So there's 2 months there when Irene's pretty darn busy with doing stuff for her business, because everything she sells is handmade and she makes it all.
Right, I'm not a reseller. I don't buy stuff from somebody. The only reselling I do is when I buy wire and then turn it into something and sell that. That's something.
So again, if you look at this calendar, we have 9 weeks, possibly March through the beginning of May, when we could potentially grow Cornish cross chickens. Again, the time of year when it's most likely that we'd be able to get something done would be November, December, and January. That's 12 weeks. Getting the Cornish cross in November is not an easy thing to do. Shipping them to northern Arizona from any place is a touchy proposition. In this part of the country, packages are frequently left in unconditioned spaces, which means it gets cold, which in turn means we have to go wherever the chickens are coming from. So we'd go to Indiana or New Mexico. So there you have it. That's the basic story about why we don't have livestock on our homestead. We'd love to, but between not having reliable assistants to watch our livestock, it's hard enough trying to get somebody to watch our garden, even though a lot of it's automated. There's no way that we're going to rely on unreliable people to take care of chickens, goats, pigs, cows, all the other things that we know how to grow and that we've grown in the past. We're just not going to do it. It's not fair to the animals, and that's not what we're about.
No, we take our animals seriously, even our pussycats and dogs. I mean, no matter what we have, even when we had wild cats, we did our very best to take as good a care of them as we possibly could. And risking them to a neighbor or something who, oh gee, forgot to come over and water them, that's just not on my list of things to do.
So we hope this has been helpful. We hope it's given you some more insight into how we're living and why we're making some of the decisions we're making. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like if you like it, and ring the bell so you get notifications. Thanks for watching.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.